Isang mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Teacher Marvin at ngayong umaga ay magbibigay sa inyo ng karagdagang kaalaman sa mathematics. Kaya ano pang inaantay nyo? Sit back, relax, participate, learn, and enjoy the show. Welcome po sa bagong tambayan ng bawat mag-aaral dito sa YouTube, ang Math-Tambayan. Today, we are going to discuss Introduction to Sets. Before we define what is set, let us first study the following pictures. Circle, 10, 1, star, triangle, and 5. Here's my first question. How many groups can we make out of the objects? What is your answer? The correct answer is 2 groups. Here's the second question. What are the names of the 2 groups? What is your answer? The correct answer is group of numbers and group of shapes. Now remember, the groups are called sets for as long as the objects in the group share a common characteristic and are thus well defined. 1, 5, and 10, which belong to the group of numbers, share the same characteristic, which is they are all numbers. On the other hand, circle, triangle, and star, they share the same characteristic, which is they are all shapes. Now in mathematics, groups is referred to as sets. Therefore, group of numbers and group of shapes can be named as set of numbers and set of shapes. Now let us define what is set. A set is a well-defined group of distinct objects called elements that share a common characteristic. Take note, elements are the objects in a set. We use the symbol E to denote the element of a set. Also, the E with a slash is read as not an element of a set. We also have to take note that we have to use capital letters in naming the set. And for the elements, we have to use a lowercase letters. Now, it is also a common practice to list the elements of a set in braces and separate these elements by commas. Now let's take some examples. Here's the first example. Set S. The elements are basketball, soccer, table tennis, badminton, volleyball. If we are going to describe this set, what do you think? This is the set of sports. Now let's take another example. Set B, the elements are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is the ellipses, which means there are still elements. Then the last element is Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, up to Sunday, what can you describe to this kind of set? This is the set of days of the week. Now let's have another example. Set A is equal to, the elements are A, B, C, up to X, Y, and Z. Now, can you describe this kind of set? This is the set of letters of the English alphabet. Now let's take the last example. Set N, which has the elements 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Now, can you describe this kind of set? Okay, so this is set of odd numbers between 0 and 10. We have to be very specific in describing the set. Okay, now we will proceed now to the representation of sets. There are actually three representation of sets. The first one is listing or roster method. This one is the most common use of representation of sets and the most easiest because we are just going to list down all the elements of a given set. So it says here that all elements of the sets are listed. And here's the example. Set G, the elements are cell phone, iPad, and laptop. So they are all listed. Another example, set M, the elements are 3, 6, 9, 12, so on and so forth. So these are all listed. Now another ways of representing set is the verbal or description method. So it is a method of describing a set in words. Okay. So set G is a set of gadgets. The second set, so we can describe it as set M is the set of numbers multiples of 3. Now let's take the last representation of set, which is the rule method or set builder notation. It is a method that lists the rule that determine whether an object is an element of the set rather than the actual elements. Now, the first example, we have set G is equal to X such that X is a gadget. Take note, the bar, we read as the bar as such that. So again, the first example, we read it as set G is X such that X is a gadget. Now, the second example of set is set M equals X such that X is a number multiples of 3. So the third representation of set is a bit difficult, but we always use the first or the second representation of sets because they are easier than the third one. And now, let's have some practice. Here's the direction. Tell whether the given statement is well-defined set or not. Here's the first question. Months in a year. Is it well-defined or not? What is our answer? The correct answer is well-defined. Now let's have the second question. Tall students in your school. Is it well-defined set or not? What is your answer? The correct answer is not. It is because tall students depends on every person. For me, 5 feet person is not tall, but 6-footer is tall for me. Another person, if you are, say for instance, you are only 5 feet, so 5 feet and 5 inches can be tall for you, which is not for me. So that's why it depends on the perspective of other person. And that means tall students in your school is not well defined. Now let's have the third question. The colors in a rainbow. Is it well defined or not? What is your answer? Well defined. Now let's have the fourth question. Good students in Mandaluyong. Is it well defined or not? What is your answer? The correct answer is not. Because good students also depends on the perspective of every person. You might say that I'm good, but for others, they're not. So that's why it's different. And therefore, it's not well defined. Now let's take the last question. Planets in the solar system. Is it well defined or not? What is your answer? The correct answer is well defined. Now you are learning and congratulations. So that's all for today. Thank you. This is Teacher Marvin, and don't forget to hit the like button and also the subscribe button.